Blah 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 blah. Oi, what do you think you're doing? That's my seat. Get out. I'll get him next time. Hello everyone, welcome to Re-Review, the series where I get to replay and reassess games from my favourite gaming era. I'm Brian, also known as UKGN Zoidberg, and I used to get paid to play games for a living and then share my opinions in magazines such as GamesX and Amiga Action. In this series, I'm going to be taking a look back at each one of the games that I played and seeing whether or not what I said about it originally is still true all these years later. As we've once again entered the Halloween season, it's probably time to talk about a game with a spooky theme. So the game that I'm going to be replaying in this episode is Ghost Battle, which was released by Thalion Software in 1991. Early last year, I produced a list of what I considered to be the top 100 games that you should be adding to your A500 Mini. There was, however, one game that I couldn't include, as no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't find a working copy of it anywhere. That game was Lionheart. This 1993 release was easily one of the most technically impressive games ever released for the Amiga, and it would certainly have found its place near the top of the list. The entire top 100 can be watched as a playlist right here on the channel. Lionheart was the third game produced by the team of programmer Erwin Kloibhofer and artist Henk Neuberg, who had 2 years previously also made Ghost Battle. That game had been made freelance, and impressed publisher Thalion so much that they got offered jobs in-house at the company. According to Neuberg, they were influenced by Ghosts and Goblins, Green Beret and various horror films. Thalion Software were one of a number of companies that emerged in Germany in the late 1980s through the Atari ST and Amiga's thriving demo scenes. While they may not be quite as well known as the likes of Rainbow Arts, Starby or Factor 5, they still produced an impressive library of games in just 5 short years. They were founded in 1988 by Eric Simon and Holger Flottmann in the town of Gütersloh, which is halfway between Dortmund and Hanover. Right off the bat, their first 3 games, Warp, Chambers of Shaolin and Seven Gates of Jambala, marked them out as a developer to watch, and they were all published by Grand Slam in 1989. As early as the following year, they started to publish the games themselves, starting with the puzzle game Atomics. They probably became most well known for their RPG series Amber Star and Amber Moon, as well as the top-selling flight simulator A320 Airbus. They also made the excellent motorbike simulator No Second Prize, which is easily one of the fastest and smoothest 3D games on the Amiga. What's impressive about it is that unlike a lot of 3D games, it doesn't become unplayable on faster machines. When I played the likes of Epic and Robocop 3 on the A500 Mini, they were so fast that they became unplayable, and I had to slow them down in the settings, whereas No Second Prize just runs buttery smooth and close to 60 frames a second. In 1994, Thalion finally closed their doors for good, with most of the development team finding new homes at Blue Byte, makers of the Battle Isle series and the Settlers. Following the release of Lionheart, both Kloibhofer and Nyborg would go on to work for Psygnosis, where they made the Misadventures of Flink, which is easily one of the best games ever released for the CD32. They followed this up with Lomax, a platform game spin-off from the Lemmings series that was released for the PlayStation in 1996. Although Kloibhofer only has a few credits to his name following the release of Lomax, Nyborg continues to work in the games industry today. He worked with WayForward Technologies on a number of projects, including the Shantae series, as well as lending his distinct visual style to a number of indie games, including personal favourites Xenocrisis and Battle Axe. If you get a chance, I would suggest that you check out his website, where you can see artwork for a number of games, including ones that never got finished. I'll put the link for that in the description. Now though, it's time to see what I said about Ghost Battle the first time around in my original review. My review appeared in issue 5 of GamesX from May 1991. In a fairly slow week, our game of the week was puzzle game Logical from Rainbow Arts. In my summary, I claimed that the game bore a striking resemblance to Horror Zombies from the Crypt, another spooky platform game that had come out a few months earlier. Maybe I'd been playing that game the night before I wrote the review and that's why it was fresh in my mind, but I honestly don't think anybody else would have made that connection, as they're not really that similar at all. The graphics were definitely the element that impressed me the most, and I stated that they gave the game a very good atmosphere. although I did point out that the animation and movement of the character was a little bit slow. What lets it down is the gameplay. Some of the enemies seemingly do not want to die even though they have been blasted for the last 5 minutes. My final score was 3 X's out of 5, saying that it was a game that would grow on you the more you played it. Both presentation and lastability earned a score of 17 out of 20, with a score of 15 out of 20 for the gameplay. Here's how my review score compares to those from other Amiga magazines, and as you can see, it's a game that really did divide opinion. Now though, it's time to see how it plays today in the playtest. Right, so let's play some Ghost Battle. First thing that strikes you about this game is how good the graphics are. Taken in isolation, they're very impressive indeed. I mean, the animation is a little bit funky, but it does actually offer the player a choice of difficulty. You can actually select easy, medium, or hard on the title screen. There's definitely some very nice creature and environment design. Certainly agree with what I said at the time about the game having a very good atmosphere. It's really a very strange design choice how many shots it takes to kill some of these enemies. I mean, I've got no problem with having to kill enemies with like about 10 shots or so, but the basic cannon fodder like those zombies should only take 1 or 2. So let's try playing it on easy difficulty instead. See what that does for me. But yeah, see what I mean? That zombie I should have been able to take out with like 1 or 2 shots. Same with this plant here. I mean, I could waste a bomb on it by throwing one of those, which you do by holding down the fire button. But that would waste a bomb, which I would need later on. So the easy difficulty doesn't seem to really do anything. I mean, maybe it makes the enemies take less hits, I don't know. Or maybe it means that I take less damage, but this seems exactly the same as playing it on normal. I think special mention should also go to the soundtrack, which is, as you can hear, is excellent. I mean, Jochen Hippel, who did the music for this, also did the music for Turrican 3, Chambers of Shaolin, among others. And Amber Star, which is another Thalion release. There really does seem to be no way to avoid any of the enemy fire, which is another reason why they shouldn't take as long to kill. You can definitely see the beginnings of Lionheart in this game. Not just in the graphics and the soundtrack. I've run out of bombs, that's not good. The health does not go down very quickly on this boss, does it? The reason why I am not advancing forward is because of the flames that keep coming out of that statue, which will kill me instantly. Got him. And there we go, that's the end of the first level, finally. Brilliant, brilliant start to the second level. Oh, that's fun. I'm being chased by somebody with a chainsaw. I'm guessing that they're going to take a lot of hits to kill, so I'm just going to keep going. Game over. Let's see if we can take the chainsaw guy out with a bomb this time, shall we? Yes! That worked out quite nicely for me. So anyway, I think that's probably enough of a playtest for now. This is definitely a game that makes a good first impression with its graphics and music, then sullies that reputation with the gameplay almost straight away, where it just seems overly unfair. But the more you play it, I think the better it gets. So let's summarise those feelings as we get to the re-review. As someone who considers Capcom's Super Ghouls and Ghosts to be one of the best games ever made, I'm probably a little bit overly harsh on games that are a little bit similar. Ghost Battle may not be the best game in the world, but it's certainly one that has a lot going for it, especially in the presentation side of things. The graphics really are excellent, with some nice character design and detailed environment. The game's central character is well animated, even having lots of little incidental touches like having his hand move while he's trying to unlock something. Although he does move a little bit strangely. Just try not to laugh whenever he's climbing a ladder. Special mention should also go to the soundtrack, which has a number of great tunes to accompany the action. It's also incredibly nice to have a game that doesn't force the player to choose between music or sound effects, and just have both. It's disappointing then that the gameplay isn't all that great. There are a number of flaws and peculiar design choices that drag the whole thing down. I already mentioned in my original review about the bullet sponge enemies that take far too many hits to take down. It's immensely frustrating, and if you compare it to something like Risky Woods or the original arcade version of Ghosts and Goblins, where the single enemies only take 1 or 2 shots to take down, you'll see why it's a problem. It's also punishingly difficult, with only 3 lives given to the player at the start, and no level codes or credits. For many players, the only way that they're going to get to see any of the later levels is by using the cheat code and the level skip. Giving players a choice of 3 difficulty modes was certainly a nice touch, although it must be said that I didn't really find that they changed anything to a significant degree. There are actually quite a few horror-themed platform games on the Amiga, and this is what the Super League looks like. As you can see, Ghost Battle sits quite comfortably in the middle. As always, you'll be able to see a full breakdown of this Super League in a video next week. The 3-star score that I gave it originally works out at about 6 out of 10, and that's probably the same score that I would give it today. It's definitely worth playing if you have the patience, just don't go expecting anything earth-shattering. Thank you for watching this episode of the re-review, I really hope you enjoyed it. Ghost Battle may not be one of the more well-known games that I reviewed, but I still think it was worth talking about. And if you did enjoy this one, then don't forget you've got a playlist of all previous episodes right here on the channel. So if you've missed any, please do check them out. The music that's playing in the background right now is a little clue as to what game I'm going to be playing next time, and that episode will be out in 2 weeks' time. So make sure you give us a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out. All opinions expressed in this video are entirely mine and not those of the UK Gaming Network team. So if you agree or disagree with anything that's said, please do let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Until next time, happy retro gaming. Bye for now.